How's my beard look? Is it shiny? It better be. I don't want to look like a fool again on the internet. Not this time. Oh, hey, happy Passiontide, everybody. That started with the 5th week of Lent last Sunday, and happy Quarantine, which has been going on forever. And of course, happy Fool's Day. So I got a joke for you. And one might say it's a bit foolish. So this city chick, she's out in the country, and she's walking around a farm. She's taking one of those farm tours, and she's asking the farmer, how come that cow over there doesn't have any horns? And the farmer says, well, ma'am, it's an interesting question. I can tell you that some cows don't have horns because they are a hornless breed, like an Angus cow. They don't have horns at all. And other cows, well, we remove them because after a while, when you're milking the cow, they get a little sensitive and like to, it's for the safety of the farmer. And it's no harm to the animal taking away their horns like that. Other cows, when they're just calves, babies growing up, we pour a little bit of acid on the top of their head where the horns would grow, so they don't grow at all, and they won't be tempted to gore nobody. See, but that cow over there doesn't have any horns because it's a horse. It's a horse. Credit goes to Father Kevin Fields for introducing me to the Buddy Hackett joke when he told that on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson back in the day. I admit, it's a bit foolish, just like the woman, but it is April Fool's Day, and that's one of my favorite titles for fellow Christians, Fool. It's what I told all of my, and called my youth group back in the day. And it's not because I'm trying to be hard, because obviously I'm not. And it's not because I'm trying to be disrespectful, because you all are beautiful people. But it's because of St. Paul in 1 Corinthians, in chapter 4, verses 10. Starting in verse 9, he says, "For I think that God has exhibited us apostles as last of all, like men sentenced to death. Because we have become a spectacle to the world, to angels, and to men. We are fools for Christ's sake." See, the world doesn't understand the Christian way of life. If we're true disciples, then there's something a little bit off, something a little bit different from the rest of us. We're not living for this world and the accolades that it has to offer, the riches that it provides. Rather, we're living for something beyond. And that's foolishness, to anybody else who isn't following that same path of discipleship of Christ. So being a fool in that respect, it ain't so bad at all. Actually, it's kind of where we want to be. It's what we want to be, foolish in the eyes of this world because we're living for the beyond. It says elsewhere in Psalm 14, "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God above." So which fool do you want to be today? The choice is yours. God bless you, fool. How was that? Can we do the thing? Okay. All right. Let me move my complicated tripod, which is actually just a DC Priest mug. And this will be for the B-roll, for the blooper reel. This is another one of Buddy Hackett's joke that he tells on the same special. So this city slicker's out in the country, and he's going duck hunting, and he's sitting in the blinds when all of a sudden he sees a flock of ducks flying over, and he takes out his shotgun, and he blam, blows one out of the sky, and it falls down to the earth, hits this farmer's barn, and then hits the ground right next to it. So he hops over the fence, and he starts walking towards where the duck fell so he can claim his prize. When out of the barn comes this big burly farmer, and he says, "Where do you think you're going?" And he says, "Well, sir, I'm I mean no trouble. I'm just here to collect my duck and be on my way." He says, "I don't think so. That ain't your duck. That's my duck." And he says, "Well, what are you talking about?" He says, "Well, I hit my barn and my property. That duck belongs to me." And he says, "Well, I hate to correct you, sir, but I am a lawyer, and I know a thing or two about hunters' rights. I shot the duck. The duck is mine." Full disclaimer, no ducks were harmed in the telling of this joke. Okay, so the farmer says, "Well, I'll tell you what, that city slicker logic ain't going to apply here. It ain't going to go very far, but why don't we settle this the country way, all right? You and me, man to man, with a bit of a face-off. And he says, well, if that's what I got to do to get my duck, I agree to your terms, sir. And he says, well, all right, here's how we're going to settle this like men. You and I are going to kick each other in the groin until the last man's standing. City Slicker can't believe it, He's like, how civilized is that? But without any warning, the farmer just winds up and smacks him right in the crotch. Oh! 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 Oh, Lord! Oh, my... Oh, sweet! Oh! Oh! He's crumpled over like that for 20 minutes, and finally when he composes himself, he gets up and he says, well, whew, I guess it's my turn. And the farmer says, you can keep the duck. Peace.